Hey everybody, what's up? This is Brian with GamesUnderPressure.com, and today I'm going to be taking a look at Super Stardust Ultra. Now, this was released on the PlayStation 4 today. If you're a member of PlayStation Plus, you can buy this right now at a reduced rate. I believe it's just over $10, which is a pretty good deal. So what exactly is Super Stardust Ultra? Well, if you have a Vita, you probably have heard of Super Stardust. Way back in 2012, Super Stardust Delta was released for the Vita, and it is basically sort of the precursor to games like Resogun. A really good way to think of it is a little bit like Geometry Wars meets Resogun. Resogun, like Super Stardust, is a first-party Sony game, so the two share a lot of similarities. Unlike Resogun, which put you in a spaceship in sort of a cylindrical map that you could go around 360 degrees, this is sort of the same thing, but just on a sphere. Of course, as you can see, you play as a little spaceship. It's a twin-stick shooter, as I mentioned before, so the left stick moves you around the sphere, and the right stick, whatever direction you press it, shoots. And, unlike Resogun, which you basically have, one set of weapons, here they give you a few different ones. You don't have different ships that have different abilities like you do in Resogun, just different guns. So what I'm using right now, you can see the ammunition there is green. That's called the Rock Crusher. So this eats through these asteroids a little bit faster than other weapons. So moving to this is, I believe, the Gold Melter, they call it. And as you can see, it's not as effective on some of these asteroids. And the third is the Ice Splitter, and you're going to have to switch up these weapons based on what kind of enemies you're taking out. So I'm not going to play this for a huge chunk of time because you probably don't want to see me playing a twin-stick shooter for an hour. I'm just going to try to give you an overview of what the game is like if you tried Super Stardust Delta on the PlayStation Vita and you're a fan of it. Hopefully, this will just be enough to give you an idea of what the game looks like, how it compares to that first game, and hopefully it'll help you decide whether or not you want to buy this version of the game. Right off the bat, by the way, it's tough to play this and talk at the same time. Usually when I play twin-stick shooters or other timing-based games, I sort of go into a catatonic state and sort of stare at the screen. I almost get into that sort of rock band mode, where the world falls away and all you can see is the notes, and then eventually you're not even really thinking, you're just reacting. So if I suck, yeah, I suck. If it's any consolation, I did Platinum Resogun, so I'm pretty good at these type of games, but talking and doing this at the same time is pretty difficult. So right off the bat, you can see that the game, it's not as visually stunning as something like Resogun. Resogun, when it came out, it was, basically showing off the PlayStation 4. It was a launch title for the PlayStation 4, and you had these crazy particle effects, and the game looked really, really nice. And I was hoping that they would ramp up the insanity a little bit for this game, and it seems to be a little bit crazier than the PlayStation Vita version. Of course, the PlayStation Vita version, you can't have all of this stuff going on at once. The world is a little bit smaller on the PlayStation Vita version. So the sphere is a little bit bigger. There are slightly more enemies, but don't expect anything radically different visually. A little disappointing for me personally, just because Resogun is an awesome game to look at. But this, it gets the job done. It's about what you would expect for, sort of a I don't want to say generic twin-stick shooter, but just sort of your average twin-stick shooter. As you can see, it is a little bit mindless in a good way. You just sort of veg out and take things as they come. And like any other twin-stick shooter, what this game does is very gradually ramp up the craziness. So everything looks very manageable right now, and it is. But by the end of the map, there's going to be some pretty crazy things going on. you have a few moves at your disposal. So, like Resogun, if you played Resogun, I keep using Resogun as an example because it's a hugely popular game. A lot of people have played it on the Vita, the new Vita version, and the PlayStation 4. So, I'm using that as a frame of reference because I don't think a lot of people played Super Stardust Delta. But like Resogun, you can hit the left trigger and boost. When you boost, you are invincible, so you don't have to worry about boosting into objects. And the meter in the lower left-hand corner of the screen is your boost meter. So when that fills up, you can see me bust through a few meteors here. You also have a bomb, which I will demonstrate here, which, unlike Resogun, it doesn't take out everything on the map, it just takes out everything within a very small vicinity. And here, they're going to start introducing some enemies, and the asteroids all sort of move in this, you know, this straight line. You can sort of tell where they're going. They don't have any autonomy. They don't have any mind of their own. When they start throwing some of the enemies at you, it gets tricky because the enemies move in different ways. And again, you can see that my Rock Crusher isn't super effective here. But if I switch to the Gold Melter, it takes out these enemies in a much faster way. So that is really sort of the crux of the mechanics here. Just the ability to switch up these weapons and use whatever is appropriate for the situation. What's interesting also is that you can level up each of those weapons individually. So you're these little green asteroids right here, if you hit them, most of the time you get points, which just of course increases your point total. But occasionally you'll find one of these power-ups which will increase the Rock Crusher or make the Ice Splitter a little bit more powerful. And you really have to use the transparency of the sphere here to seek out those power-ups, which adds a nice little dimension to the game. Like Resogun again, you have shields, which you can use. They give you a nice little protective cushion if you are recording a video for YouTube and you can't play the game very well. So overall, you have a few nice particle effects, but of course nothing approaching the Resogun quality here. And you can see things are getting a little bit crazier. They start throwing a lot of stuff at you. This is a very good way to wear out your DualShock 4 sticks. I actually totally ruined a DualShock 4 stick playing Resogun. The rubber just wore right off of it. And I know those controllers have a problem with that, but nonetheless. Do one more little section here, and then I'll show you some of the different modes in the game. You got some interesting stuff here.
Game over. Stardust.
Now, there are some other modes here. Of course, Time Attack is pretty self-explanatory. There's other stuff, so you can play one planet in perpetuity. Endless mode, so just different random attack waves. The survival is kind of interesting, and I'll show you what this is all about.
Get ready.
So there are these power-ups, so you can see the green asteroids here, just like you would normally find. But what's different here is that you can't destroy these little balls floating around. You just have to avoid them. You can hit them and knock them into a different trajectory, but you can't destroy them. So as those little spheres are added, things get pretty crazy. As you can see, it gets pretty nuts. Because then you start having to avoid enemies as well. So you're trying to push these spheres away from you and clear some room. At the same time, you're also trying to knock those things away. And you can tell just how few people are playing this game, because at 1 minute and 2 seconds, I am number 126 in the world. Let's just, out of curiosity, see. Yeah, so only 6 minutes and 23 seconds is the number 1.
Stardust.
Let's try a different mode here. So this is interesting. There was an achievement like this in Resogun as well, where you would try to get through a level with just boosting, and this is sort of the natural progression of that idea. You only have a boost here, so you can boost through these enemies, kill them, but you also have to wait for your boost to regenerate before you do it again. And like Resogun, again, if you're boosting, as long as you're boosting through enemies, you can keep your boost going. So you could see that there was a line of enemies there, and as long as you can stay in the line and keep hitting stuff, your boost continues. So that's really how you have to do this. You have to try to string together a lot of your boosts. This is just one of those mindless games that you could really play for hours, and then you look at the clock and it's 4 a.m. and you wonder where you went wrong in life. And by the way, these games are terrible for insomnia too. So I don't know why, but this a game like this really wakes you up too. So not great if you're trying to make yourself tired. So that'll do it for that mode, and I'll show you a few more here because why not? This is a mode where you have only bombs, and you can see that all these modes are sort of permutations on the core idea here. And so, you know, limiting you to just boost, to just bombs, not allowing you to actually kill the enemies around you. And no boost. No other weapons. And I think I used up all my bombs way too early.
Game over.
So again, kind of cool. I don't know if any of these modes are going to be, you know, incredibly fun. There we go. This almost sounds like a Tron sort of mode. You know, I don't know if these modes are going to hold your interest. You know, the arcade mode is really where things are going to be. But it's all interesting, and I'm happy that they add stuff like this. This mode is very tenuous, too. Oh, I didn't even see that.
Game over.
I'll try that one more. That's actually kind of fun.
Stardust.
It's probably my favorite new mode, actually. Kind of goofy, stupid fun. The goal, of course, is not to corner yourself here. And the transparency adds kind of a cool dynamic that makes this mode doable. And I think what you're going to want to do is trap some of these enemies in the rock trail. Yeah, this is kind of fun. I'm actually kind of digging this more than the actual single player here. I don't know, this tickles a weird part of my brain. It makes all your movements very purposeful. Because everything you do comes back to haunt you in some way in this mode.
Shields off.
Whoa, couldn't sneak that through.
Game over.
And again, 34 in the world. Just out of curiosity, I want to see what number 1 is. I bet I could do that. But I won't bore you with that because you don't want to see an hour of me playing Super Stardust Ultra, I'm sure. So that will about do it for this video. At $10, it's about what you would expect. If you've played Super Stardust Delta, I don't know if there's a whole heck of a lot of reason to come to this. I actually think Super Stardust Delta, from what I've played of this, is the better game. And especially, you know, if you have a Vita, it's super convenient to play. But this, if you're in the mood for sort of a good old-fashioned twin-stick shooter with some HD visuals, I'd check it out. At $10, it's about what you'd expect. So if you're playing this, let me know what you think about it in the comments below. I want to hear what you think of this game. And as always, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. If you subscribe to my channel, I will subscribe to yours as well. And thanks for watching.